Let's dance. What's going on, everybody, on this beautiful Thurs? Is it Thursday yet? No, it isn't. It's Wednesday night, and it is the college basketball tournament eve, which is everybody's Christmas Eve if you're a degenerate gambler like ourselves. This is Gun Specs, and this is the Breakin Ankles show, coming to you live on location, at least for me. This isn't a green screen in the background. This is actually in my hotel room here in Verona, New York at Turnover Casino. And I've already placed a slew of bets, and I am very excited to spend my entire weekend here. And man, do we have some plays in here, and I don't have to do it alone this time because we have the banger himself. I would call him probably the shooting guard of podcast, as I am the point guard. It is Dabby Cab. What's going on, my friend? How you doing tonight?
Good, man. I feel like it's Christmas Eve right now. Tomorrow, I mean, we all know that anybody who caps college basketball, tomorrow is the day. It starts the fucking best month of the year. I'm ready. I know March has already been going, but tomorrow is when it starts.
And we want you got to be active in the chat. So please give everything that you like this weekend, and maybe we'll give you some opinions and put them up in the chat for this episode. But first, I mean, this is going to be heavy loaded with the dab because guess what? I already gave you my plays yesterday, at least for the early slate. I gave you UVA minus 5.5, Utah State minus 1.5, and Colgate plus 13.5. If you missed those plays yesterday, I just gave it to you here on the Breakin Ankles show here as we fire shots across the bow. But let's start with the dab here. He likes something that I like on this one, but a different angle on this one. Let's talk Utah versus Missouri. This game does kick off at Golden One Center Arena, Sacramento, California, 1:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you have a take on the first half. Give it to him, Deb.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this game I don't think could have worked better for Utah State here. I don't think they could have got a better matchup than Missouri. I mean, this is just perfect for them. These are a couple of great offensive-minded teams here. But the reason I'm going to be on the Aggies in the first half is because of their defense. Another thing that I like about Utah State is they have multiple players who can put up double figures. They move the ball around well. They're a very balanced team. Whereas the Tigers, you've seen defensive struggles throughout most of the season. In conference, they were 13th in three-point percentage, 35%. And then also Missouri ranks 362nd in the nation in defensive rebounding percentage. Just not good. And then their defensive turnover percentage is fifth highest in the nation. So there's holes within this Missouri team. And I've been thinking that all year. Whereas you look at Utah State, they're 35th in defensive rebounding percentage. They're very good attacking the boards. The Aggies take care of the ball. So that's another thing. They're not going to give Missouri a lot of free points. And Utah State right here, 7-1 ATS, their last 8 games overall. So I think this is a great spot for Utah State. I don't think they could have got a better matchup for game one than Missouri. This is literally the team that they want, the team that they better go beat.
Yeah, I basically just reinstated what I did. It's almost like you copied my notes, but you didn't. You were just as sharp as I am on this one, and like I can't agree with you more on this one. It's like, but you have to understand what like Missouri's defense cannot like withstand what Utah State is. That is what the difference in this team is. Utah State is 64th in defensive efficiency, whereas Missouri is 178th in defensive efficiency. Both teams have good offenses. Both teams can shoot, and both teams can score. I think the difference is who can make more stops than the other team, and I think it's going to be Utah in this one. And you're getting them at a short number here, and Utah State, the Aggies, should get it done. But the dab says first half. I say game. We'll see how the game plays out tomorrow at 1:40 p.m.
Well, I like both. I like both.
He does like both. All right. Is that? Are we going too far on this one? Or are we just going to go with the first half?
I'm just going to be on first half, but I'm just letting you know that I like both. And if anybody's wondering, like, why do I go with it? Because I got a money line at minus 113. You know, and I'm not saying that I want to push because the last thing I want to do is push. I fucking hate pushing. But if it is tied at half, I get a push here, and I don't see any reason why Utah State's not, not at least up. I think they're going to be up by 4 or 5 points at half.
So here's what you do, people. Is that like both of us like this play. You hammer both sides as much as possible. You fire shots across the bow, and then you basically carry that over into the next games that we have here on the slate, because we're going to go into another game here, and we're going to go SEC versus the Big Ten here. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going Arkansas versus Illinois. This is going to be an 8-9 matchup, as they say, and this is going to be a crazy game. Nothing that I'm looking at personally, but Dab says this is a game you need to look at, especially in the first half. Give it to him.
And you just said it. This Arkansas team covers a lot of first half spreads and then fucks up in the second half of the game. I don't know if it's if that's going to be a coaching thing or if it's within the players or what, but Arkansas comes out strong in a lot of these games, or a lot of their games, excuse me. And between Arkansas and Illinois, just like we were talking about Utah State, Arkansas is the more well-rounded team. Okay, all around, they're the more well-rounded team. Both teams ended on a down note, not looking good. But Arkansas is not playing as bad as some people think at the moment. They did beat Auburn in the second round of the SEC tournament. And then in that game against A&M where they lost, they were leading by 13 at halftime. So it comes back to where I'm saying this team comes out and gets ahead at half. Both games that they lost against A&M, the last one of the season, not the last game of the season, but the last game against A&M in the regular season and then in the tournament, both of them, they were up. They were up comfortably at half on A&M and then just blew it away. So that's why I'm going with the first half here. The Razorbacks, they have 5 players that can score. They have good guard play. And this Illinois team, they're just 1-5 ATS their last 6 games. Arkansas 4-3 their last 7, so not a lot better. But I think Arkansas is going to be the more aggressive team, and they have the better defense, like we were just talking about Utah State. So I think Arkansas will be more aggressive. I think they're more rounded, and I think they play better defense here. Only having to go with the money line first half, I fucking love it. Arkansas first half money line.
Bang, bang, bang. Man, the Dab just firing sharps. Back to back to back. Here we go on the Breakin' Ankles show. And listen, if you have a take on, from my perspective, I do lean Illinois for the game. But I think the first half is a good take, and it could be an opportunity to take Illinois in the second half. I really don't think Illinois is going to perform very well, especially a lot of these Big Tens may not perform very well in the first half. And if they don't, it's a good time to get to the window and bang them on the second half, especially if the game is within 1 to 2 possessions. I would think that is a good opportunity to do that. But Dabby has a good take on the first half, and by God, he's been hammering and dominating these splits all season long. But let's get into the next play here, and this is one that I love and is a little bit near and dear to my heart as a Duke fan. And he better be on the right side of this one, or I'm going to smack him like a bookie on this one. Duke versus Oral Roberts, and I know Oral Roberts is tough. I know they can shoot the lights out of the any gym that they're in, but I don't think they can match up with this Duke team defensively. That's my opinion. I'm not betting on this game because I'm a fan, and I don't know if it's my heart or my head giving me this idea, but I'll give it to the Dab to give the analysis on this game. Give it to him.
Yeah, I got you. This isn't loading here, but yeah, this is a Oral Roberts team that, I feel like it's such a weird thing. It's like everybody wants to act like, oh, you don't know who Oral Roberts. We all fucking know who Oral Roberts is. Okay, they're a good team that nobody wants to play in the tournament. Everybody gets that. Okay, so they're not some hidden secret that people don't know. We know who Oral Roberts is. They're a good team, and if you're a Duke fan, you were probably sitting here saying, please don't fucking give us Oral Roberts first round. Please don't give us Oral Roberts first round. And you got him, okay? But now you're here, and this is a Duke team that hasn't been hotter. Right now, Duke's coming into this game. I'm going to say it wrong. Filipowski, the 7-foot freshman, has just been outstanding of late, averaging 15.4 points per game. He's averaging 9 rebounds per game. He was named second team All-ACC Freshman of the Year by the coaches in the conference. And he can hit perimeter shots. He can hit it from all around. Really, what's been the kicker is Roach. At the beginning of the year, he was out for a little bit. This team just had no rhythm. They had no flow. And everybody was like, oh, maybe it's because Coach K is not here or whatnot. You and I talked about it. And I think on the show, I was like, well, hey, once they win this championship, everybody's going to shut up about Coach K being gone because they're like, hey, first-year coach went out and got a championship. There's more work to be done. And I think this is a Duke team that's ready to put that work in. Like I said, from Filipowski to Roach, across the board, this team just long, lanky. They should be attacking the glass here. I like Duke. I took them in the first half -3.5. But you look at this team; they're ranked 41st in adjusted offense efficiency and 25th in adjusted defense efficiency. And that's taking the whole season into account. If you just took the last few weeks into account, this Duke team would be off the charts on those numbers. So I like Duke here first half -3.5. Bet it. Don't just like it. I bet it.
Bang, bang.
Listen, Dabby said it absolutely perfectly. This is not a Duke team that you can doubt because the numbers are not what they say. I don't care if you look at Ken Palm. I don't care if you look at covers. I don't care what you look at. The numbers are not what the team is now. You have to understand that Whitehead was hurt. Lively was hurt. Filipowski had to carry that team, and he didn't realize that he was the star of that team. There's a lot of key elements that like John Shire had to figure out with that team to figure out like who's doing what. You saw it in the last 8-game window. And I always tell people to like, listen, it's like, don't worry about what happened in the beginning of the season. Don't worry what happened in the middle of the season. Worry about the last 10 games. And guess what? Duke has played the best. As like, if you break down Ken Palm in the last 10 games, I guarantee Duke is in the top 5. They have to be. Is the way they played in there. It's like you have a 7-footer hitting 3-pointer shots. You have Lively, as skinny and thin as he is one of the best, arguably one of the best post players in the country. I know what Ballo does for Arkansas. I know what Edey does for Purdue, but you have to recognize what Lively does. And he's only 18 years old, friends. And then don't forget about Whitehead. Whitehead is a great defender. He's a great player. And then you just brought up Roach as an element, as a point guard. And guess what? When Duke is a good team and can make it far into a tournament, it's when they have the great point guard in that position. And guess what? Roach has stepped up into that role, and he probably was the runner-up in the MVP in the ACC tournament. But Filipowski just completely dominated that tournament. He is one of the best, well, arguably one of the best players. I know Miller, for what he's doing with Bama, is phenomenal. I know he's dealing with some other stuff. I don't know if that's going to affect him in the tournament. But I think this Duke team as a 5 seed, where people think 5 seeds are very like vulnerable in these situations. I don't think this Duke team is one of those teams. I think this is a Duke team that can get to the Final Four. And I'm a Duke fan, but I recognize I'm also a logical Duke fan, and I recognize when a Duke team can actually get there. And I think this is one of those teams. So John Shire, do your work. And beat Oral Roberts, get to Tennessee next week. Not next week. I'm sorry, the next game. And speaking of which, that's a good transition in this one.
I was going to say this real quick.
Okay.
You know who my top 2 teams are right now? To go on what you're saying with form,
yeah.
with as late season form right here. This is going to shock some people, but it's Alabama first. That doesn't shock anybody. Then it's Duke.
Nope.
It's not Houston. It's Duke. I'd probably put Houston at 3rd or 4th right now.
Do you think that's on the fact that Houston's dealing with one of their top players injured right now, and same with UCLA? Is that correct?
What did you say about UCLA?
No, UCLA has like one of their top inside players injured. They also had a guard that they lost for the season. Yeah. I don't think UCLA is as strong as what their 2 seed is, and that's what I was trying to get at there. But I agree with you there. I was like, and I think Bama's vulnerable just because of what's going on in the program. It's like I think honestly, I think Arizona can come out of that bracket pretty much. If they have to face Alabama, I think nobody can guard Ballo inside. Like Ballo is one of those elements that you need to have a big guy, and Purdue has one. Duke has one. I don't know if there's anybody else in the country that can actually match up with that guy, because I watched him play in the Pac-12 championship, and my God, did he play absolutely lights out and depleted the inside presence that UCLA had in that game. So we'll see how this goes. I want to get to the next play on this one. I want to keep rendering. Maybe at the end we could talk about who we like as our top teams once this goes on here. But I want to talk about this one right here. Louisiana, Tennessee, Amway Center, Orlando, Florida, 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And a lot of people like ULL. I get it. The Raging Cajuns are playing really good as far as the mid-major. But why is the line -10, -10.5, and then it moved up to -11.5? I'm taking them at -11.5 probably getting the worst of the line here, but I'm going to be taking them here in Tennessee because I just look at the numbers and I think Tennessee will get it done here. Listen, ULL is coming off the highest of highs. They won the Sun Belt. They beat Southern Alabama 71-66. They played on March 6th. And why I say that is because there was a lot of rest there's 10 days rest coming into this game for them. Tennessee doesn't have 10 days rest. So they're a little bit less rusty than ULL in this spot. ULL coming up that loss versus Missouri as well. So there's a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They lost 79-71. They are a falling knife. But why is a falling knife getting double digits in a tournament game? That's what the question is. But let's look at the stats. ULL 57th in offensive efficiency, 54th in field goal percentage, 31st in offensive rebounding, 321st in free throw percentage. Key, they can't make free throws. If you're a dog, you better make your free throws because that's going to cover spreads here, folks. But look at the defense for Tennessee. Second in defensive efficiency, second in field goal percentage, and defending shots. 21st in creating turnovers. So this team does create turnovers. And 107th in defensive rebounding. I think this is going to be a defense they've never faced before, and they're going to have some fits here versus the Tennessee Vols. Tennessee's offense is also not too bad. 48th in offensive efficiency, 196 in field goal percentage, 5th in offensive rebounding. So if you're missing shots, you better be able to rebound. And guess what Tennessee does? They are one of the best at rebounding on the offensive boards, but they are going into the ULL defense on this one, 148th in defensive efficiency, 179th in defending shots, 83rd in defensive rebounding. A complete mismatch on both sides of the ball here. There's a reason why this team is double-digit favorites in this spot. Then look at the strength of schedule. Tennessee faced the 35th strongest strength of schedule, whereas ULL faced the 156th strength of schedule in the country. Key losses on this one. You want to break down tournament teams on this one. They ULL lost to Drake by 22, and they lost to Texas by 28, whereas Tennessee beat USC by 7, beat Kansas by 14, and they beat Maryland by 3. So there's your variance here, people. There's a reason why this team is favored, but people are taking the Raging Cajuns. Why? Also know where Tennessee comes from off a loss. They're 14-6-1 against the spread off a loss. I know Tennessee is a falling knife. But when you see a line like this, you have to break down the statistics and figure out why. And this is why. This is why I'm going to be taking Tennessee minus 11.5. I'd probably take them up to minus 20 at this point, knowing that Drake beat them by 22. So I'm going to be taking Tennessee here, minus 11.5 as my play here tonight on the Breakin' Ankles Show. Firing shots across the bow like a pirate. And I have to give the same energy to the next play. Let me take a breath. And I'm going to be talking about Dabby's old school. I think he pitched for Texas A&M. Am I wrong?
Everybody thinks that because my pops played football there. I pitched at Texas Tech.
Oh,
I wanted to go to A&M. Texas Tech gave me more money.
All right. Before we talk about Penn State and Texas A&M, what are your thoughts on my play on Tennessee?
I like it. You said it from the beginning. There's a reason why. If you just look at the numbers and you just, like, let's say you gave this to somebody who doesn't know shit about college basketball and you gave them the statistics and everything, they're going to jump all over ULL. But there's a reason why Tennessee is favored by so many points. I think the books want you to bet Louisiana. So I agree. I like that play. I'm not betting it, but I like it.
I will say this right now. I think that line's going to keep moving up. It was 10.5, and I took a break. I was like, maybe I'll just wait. And I waited a day, and it went up a point. So I don't know where this game is going to land by game time. This game does start late. So a lot of people are going to be chasing bets, and I think people are going to be chasing dogs. It seems like a lot of these teams are a lot of the public are chasing dogs in this one, trying to find the Cinderella story. Like Furman's one of those teams. Have you seen the same thing, Gabby?
What was it? Say it one more time.
No, I'm talking about like everybody's looking for the Cinderella team. Seems like everybody doesn't know who the Cinderella team is. But like they talk about Furman, they talk about Drake, they talk about Louisiana.
It's so frustrating. It's kind of what I touched on when what did I say earlier when I was trying to with Earl Roberts, where everybody's gonna be like, oh, look, I'm not saying Earl Roberts can't win the basketball game. I know that they can, but I don't give a shit about a Cinderella team. I'm not trying to be the one guy that finds the one team that I'd rather have 4 teams that do good for me and then I fuck up in one. Okay, there's one Cinderella story. I'm not looking for that one to bet. I'm betting what my numbers tell me, what my eyes tell me, and what my gut tells me.
I'll say this though, and this is not my gut. This is my heart. This is my soul. This is my left foot telling you: don't bet Furman tomorrow. Don't bet Furman tomorrow. If you bet Furman tomorrow, then you're a sucker. And you can clip this and send it to me later and tell me I'm a sucker if this loses. But I'm telling you right now, UVA ain't gonna lose tomorrow. They're gonna dominate Furman. I'm sorry.
I've got Virginia first half -2.5. I've already bet them.
Yeah. So we have there you go. There's a play.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's your breakdown on
it. Take a sip. No, I gave the breakdown on Late Night Bangers. I don't have to talk about that play anymore. It's like if you want to go check that out on yesterday's show. I gave a full-blown breakdown of why you don't take Furman. I'm not going to do it here because I have another game to break down, and it's the game that's sitting in front of you right now as I'm pointing to it. Is Penn State versus Texas A&M, Wells Fargo Arena, Des Moines, Iowa, 9:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is what makes the tournament beautiful. There are so many games. There's so many time increments that you can take and dominate the board. Listen, I know where Penn State came from. They played 4 games in a row. They won 3 out of the 4, and they almost beat the number 1 seeded Purdue spoiler makers. They're not spoiler makers anymore because they're a favorite, and in last second fashion. And this is what I'm saying. I was like, this is a Penn State team that has to be gassed. They haven't spent any time in their own dorm room. They haven't spent any time with their families. They go from hotel to hotel. I don't know if they have enough gas in the tank to go through an NCAA tournament. Where Texas A&M, they just came off the SEC championship. They played 3 games, not 4, but they got absolutely destroyed by Bama. But you know what Bama is. Bama is the number 1 overall seed. They're great on offense. They're great on defense. And it was kind of expected, especially in a revenge spot where Texas A&M beat them in a previous game. Has nothing to do with the cap here. But let's look at the teams as far as statistical analytics are concerned. Now, Penn State, 17 in offensive efficiency, 12th in field goal percentage, 362nd in offensive rebounds, 110th on the free throw line. This is basically a team that wants to shoot and make baskets, but they're not going to rebound on you, where Texas A&M does excel in that position. 37th in defensive efficiency, 63rd in defending shots. And I know the stat here is kind of low for them, but if you actually look at them in the last 5 games, you've seen Texas A&M with Buzz Williams really teaching these guys to crash the boards because they're good on the offensive boards, but they're not good on the defensive boards. But the last 5 or 6 games, you've seen them really crashing the boards in these games, which has gotten them W's in the last spot. And I'll get to that in a second. But Texas A&M's offense, 30th in offensive efficiency, 254th in field goal percentage. Bad, right? 6th in offensive rebounding, 39th in free throw percentage. They get to the boards, they get rebounds, they try to get the buckets back up, they get fouled, and they make their buckets. Even their big man make their buckets. Now, the Penn defense is 99th in defensive efficiency, 112th in field goal percentage, 43rd in defensive rebounds. And I want to go back to this. Where did Penn State come from? They played 4 straight conference games, including losing by 2 points in dramatic fashion, almost taking a team into overtime in Purdue. They are gassed. Then they have to go travel to Idaho to go play in their first game versus a team that suffocates you on the defensive side in Texas A&M for Buzz Williams. Where does Texas A&M come from? 3 games, 3 days in Nashville. They're 10-2 straight up in their last 12, including wins over Arkansas twice, Bama, Auburn, Tennessee. All tournament teams. This is a strong team in this spot in an 8-9 matchup. Texas A&M is going to get this and dominate this game. This is going to be nothing. I feel bad because I love Penn State. I've been cashing with them in the conference tournament. I've always put them on my card. In this spot, I can't because of the Texas A&M defense. So I'm going to be taking Texas A&M here I got them at -2.5. I like them at -3. I like them at -3.5. I like them at -4. I think they're going to win this game no matter what and cover the spread. So go and take them. Texas A&M -2.5 is my play.
Bang, bang, bang.
Woo! What do you think of this game? So I can take a breath. Muted.
Shit. I think this is going to be a really tight matchup, but I do like A&M to get the win here. You said it. This A&M's got a +4 rebounding margin per game. They're going to be attacking the glass here. They're holding teams to 32% shooting from beyond the arc. And this is a Penn State team where Jalen Pickett's really going to try and set up his 3-point shooters. And I think A&M's going to shut that down, which is going to be huge. I think A&M's just going to play tougher here. I think they're going to get to the free throw line a lot. And I think that's what's going to be the difference in this game. I think the free throws for A&M.
The free throw line that's going to play right into what Texas A&M does. And you're absolutely correct on this one.
I think you could win this one on free throws, but I think you still win it.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a short line for a reason. Yes. You could be up 2 and then you get to the free throw line. But like if there's a team that I trust to make free throws down the stretch, it's Texas A&M and not Penn State. So those are the plays that pay here on the Breaking Ankles show here on the late night slate. Listen, we're going to be coming back here, but to recap, I gave you the early plays. If you want to go see the breakdowns on that one, go check out yesterday's show with the late night bangers. But the Dabby gave you Utah State first half and Arkansas first half, Duke first half, and I'm going to be going with Tennessee -11.5 for the game, and I'm also going to be going with Texas A&M -2.5 for the game as the plays for Thursday. Listen, we're gonna be coming back. Don't worry, we're gonna give you some Friday plays on this one. Didn't want to give everything out here as I'm trying to kill the banner. Okay, we're coming back, and I'm gonna give you like a surprise play on this one because you're watching here. I see 11 of you guys watching me right now. I'm gonna give you one. I'm not gonna give you a breakdown, but if you want to watch a breakdown, you can watch it tomorrow. I'm gonna give you FAU +2.5 versus Memphis. There is no way Memphis is going to win that game. Fat and sassy.
Yes, they are. I'm on both sides of Memphis. I think Memphis fucking might make the Final Four.
All right. So we have.
Hey, we're not always going to agree. I just had to throw that out there.
This is what I like about this show. We don't have to agree at every play. Yeah. But I think where I like how I cap is different from how Dabby caps. But at the end, we will cash at 58% as what this show does here on the Breaking Ankles. But that is a preview. So do with it as you will. We may have an argument tomorrow. We'll figure out what the time is going to be on that show as I am on location. And, of course, Dabby's got his own stuff that he has to deal with because he is a busy man himself. But thanks for joining us right now. Shout out to the chat that has been on here. Danny Delp going in there. Damn, Dabby, going against the gun is a bad situation. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't have said anything if I didn't already post it, but I've already posted Memphis. Look, Florida Atlantic is going to try and score and outscore Memphis. That's how they win games. And Memphis is not – the last thing you want to do is get in a fucking shootout with Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams.
You don't think that – all right, let's get into this argument right now. So you don't think that like Memphis like situationally, Memphis coming off a win where they absolutely just shot the lights out in a gym versus a Houston team without their best starter and just carried that momentum into the end where Houston basically came back in that game, but they were missing their best player. It's like I think – there is a lot of misleading situations there. And I think FAU has kind of like been playing lying in the cut. And all of a sudden they're going to pounce here in the right time. That is my excuse. I didn't want to get into this right now, but you got me fired up on March Madness. Let's go.
So let's look at just the last 5 games for Memphis. Okay. The only loss they have is to Houston, and they lost that game by 2 points. Now,
I'm not taking away from what Houston does. That's correct.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm trying to say is, so you look at them. We saw what UCF did against Florida today. Now, it was expected. Both of us said we would have been on UCF, or you might have even been on them. But, Memphis, handled them, put 94 on Tulane, beat Houston in the championship game. This is a Memphis team that I've bet a lot this season, and I've been riding with them. I've enjoyed them. I'm going to just say it again. The Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams duo is the best in college basketball right now. These motherfuckers will put up 50 points between the two of them pretty much every game. And if you're talking about a game that's going to be a shootout, which is what this game is going to be, there's not going to be much defense. This is going to be a shootout. I'll take those two players right there.
I love it. Dabby's ready for an argument, and I don't have my notes in front of me. That shows what you have to do right there. Listen, I'm still sticking with my cap. I do have it in my mind from a statistical analytics, but I think they can evenly match up with there, especially with strength of schedule. Well, we will get to that, I guess, tomorrow. And really, Dabby has won round one, but guess what? The gun always comes back swinging.
Nobody wins until we get the bet right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I here's what I'll say. It's like the next time we do a show, once that game's over, we whoever wins that battle, like we owe the fans a shot. How about that?
This would be lame as hell if we agreed on everything, you know?
Oh, I don't want to agree on it. Come on.
Lame as hell.
Yeah.
But we did agree. I agreed with you on pretty much everything we talked about pre-show. We're like, yeah, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. This one, we're just not.
Yeah, we're playing for a shot though, asshole.
All right.
All right. So we're playing for a shot. We'll see how this goes. We'll talk about this play. Like we'll break down that play tomorrow because that is a Friday play, and we'll figure out what time we're going to do that. I want to do a night show on that one too, but just make sure we have the lines right on that one. But that's going to do it for this edition of the Breaking Ankle Show. Dabby Cab, the Guns picks. You got anybody? You got any parting ways or anything you want to give to the chat?
Man, you guys that are out there in the chat, Alfonso, Dana, Slick, G-Man, your boy, all you guys, man, we appreciate you. Throw it in there what you're betting. Do us a favor, too. When this ends, go leave a comment on the YouTube. You know, let us know if you're going to tail us. Let us know if you're going to fade us. Let us know if you have a different bet that you like. Let us know if you like the show, if you fucking hated it. You know, I don't care. Just leave us a comment. It helps a ton. But we appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, as I do, too. And Debbie couldn't have said it better myself. And that's going to do it for the show. Make sure you join us tomorrow and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and make sure you keep sharing that stuff across the Twitter world, Instagram world, or wherever you're sharing all your content, because this is the sharpest channel on the planet. My God, we are going to dominate the NCAA tournament. So till next time for the Breaking Ankle Show, let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the board. And as always, let's keep dancing.